Hi, I'm Ailey for Design Break, and today I'm going to compare the 1996 with the 2021 Space Jam poster. So I'm a graphic designer and I grew up in the 90s, so the original Space Jam film was one of my favourite films growing up, and they've just released the sequel to Space Jam. It's coming out in a few months, so I thought it'd be quite cool to analyse and compare both of the posters from a graphic designer's perspective. So looking at the posters, I'll kind of just look at the colour use, how it's sort of set up and laid out, the composition, and then sort of the story that it's telling, and looking at it from a graphic designer's perspective. So does it serve the function that it was designed to do, and how well does it serve that function? So obviously a movie poster is to promote the movie and to sell it and to get people to want to watch it. So we'll kind of look at all those things. So we'll look at the 1996 poster first. So looking at it, you can instantly tell it's not a modern poster. The use of the oversized faces that are obscured and cut off, like sort of half and half, that's quite a common thing that's maybe not used quite so often these days. And the colour and the print style as well kind of give it away. So the interesting thing about this poster is that the main characters obviously are really famous and well-known characters or people, in Michael Jordan's case, and they were well known when the film was released, but they've still chosen to have the names there and quite prominently. It's kind of jumping out at you. It's not a small thing, and then their faces are so oversized, so it's really telling the viewer, whoever's looking at the poster, that these two characters are going to be in this film together. So I think these days film posters tend to be a bit more subtle than that, but they maybe decided to show us really prominently who it is, because of the novelty of Michael Jordan, a sports star, playing a role in a film with Bugs Bunny, who's obviously a cartoon character. So it's probably to really play on that, the sort of mystery and interest of those sort of two completely different worlds colliding, because obviously nowadays technology has advanced a lot more, and it's a lot more common, I think, to see different styles sort of being combined, so like animation and cartoon with live action and things like that, but it probably wasn't that quite so common back then. Okay, and then the background, obviously there's stars there, and that kind of tells us it's kind of space related if you didn't see the logo, and the colours there kind of make it feel a little bit space age, so it's cool colours, quite dark, a little bit mysterious, even though you've got the obvious details there of the name and the faces, you can see who it is. And then the logo is the only thing that is in colour, which makes it jump out, but then it's kind of, I feel like it's this kind of awkward size where it's not small, but it's not big, but then it's in colour, so it's kind of competing. It's not obviously supposed to be the focal point, but then at the same time it's not really fading into the background. So I feel like this goes against all of my graphic designer morals to say this, but I think the logo should be bigger. I just feel like everything's competing for the viewer's attention here, with the logo in colour but not being big enough, and then the faces there and the titles at the top. And then the tagline, "Get ready to jam." It's a weird decision to put it where it is. Obviously they wanted it to be next to the logo, but it's right over a white part of the poster, and it's white text, and a lot of the rest of the poster is dark, so I think that could definitely have been shuffled around a bit to make it look a bit better and less messy and sort of cluttered, especially with all those, I know it was all the supporting roles and all the text underneath kind of that's something that's on all posters, or it was on all posters. I think they've stopped doing that now, but yeah, it kind of makes it look a bit hectic and cluttered. And then you've got the date at the bottom there, which is obviously important information. Overall, I really love this poster. It's probably partly because I grew up with Space Jam and I really like it, so it's kind of that nostalgia thing making me like it more. From a design perspective, I think it gets its point across, and it makes you interested to watch the film, especially when it's like really, really promoting that it's Bugs Bunny and Michael Jordan. It kind of makes it a really interesting concept that if it was a novelty back then, it would make the viewer really want to watch the film and see what it's about. And they're smiling as well, which tells you it's like a comedy. Obviously, it's probably going to be a comedy with Bugs Bunny in it, but it seems like it's going to be easy watching. So yeah. Okay, so on to the 2021 poster. So first off, this poster is really interesting when you look at it in more detail. So the logo is the backdrop, but then at the same time it's also the light source, and I feel like it's also the focal point as well, which is a really weird combination to be able to actually achieve. And then you've got the main characters sort of silhouetted against the logo as well, which makes it really interesting because you can see the characters, but it's more mysterious, and because it's their silhouette. But you know who they are. You can see Bugs Bunny. They've got basketballs. You can see that's LeBron James. You kind of have to work that out though, which I think makes viewers feel more invested in it, like they've worked it out and they're kind of in the inside loop of it. And then going back to the logo being the backdrop as well as being the light source and the sort of the main focal point of the poster, it's really interesting as well because they're obscured with the sort of silhouettes of the logo is obscured by the silhouette of the characters. So you can't instantly see exactly what it is, but if you know Space Jam, you're going to be able to work out that's the Space Jam logo. You can see the Looney Tunes rings on it, and you can clearly see space there, and then work out that it says Jam underneath. So for the people who grew up with Space Jam, this is really interesting because they feel like they're on the inside loop and they can instantly see what that is and work out, even though it's different. And then for new viewers who maybe haven't heard of Space Jam or they've heard of it but not that familiar with it, they can spend a bit more time and work out what it is, or maybe not even make the connection that it's an old film, but just see that it's Bugs Bunny playing basketball in a film with LeBron James, which, I mean, is quite interesting. So that whole aspect of it, and then the colour usage as well. So the logo obviously is blue, which makes me think back to the 90s Space Jam, which used blue quite prominently. But then you've got that sort of orangey purple, blue and white sort of galaxy feel. So it's a bit different from the starry backdrop from the 96 one, but it's still making you think of space and those kind of themes. I won't get into the actually analysing the logos just now, but I really like the new logo. It's kind of makes you think of like a dystopian space age neon, like, I don't know, like a motel on the moon, like one of those tacky motels on the moon or something like that. It's really reminding me of all of the little shops and the services from all of the weird planets that you saw in the original Space Jam. So then going to the information at the bottom, you can see the title of the film, the date, and all the sort of other important information is there as well. But it's not really taking up a lot of real estate on the poster. It's not taking your attention either. It's kind of just there for you to read once you've sort of taken in the main part of the poster. Overall, I really love this poster as well, just from a different perspective. I just think it's just the whole concept of the logo being the backdrop, the light source, and the focal point, just all of those different aspects and the silhouetted characters playing into each other. I think it's just really nicely done, and it appeals to both audiences, both the people who grew up with Space Jam and the younger generations who maybe haven't seen Space Jam. So comparing the posters, they both get their point across, but it's really interesting to see how they get their point across in their own unique ways, where the 90s poster is kind of like not shoving it in your face, but it's really obvious. They're telling you these are the characters who are going to be in the film, whereas the new one, it kind of hints at it and makes you work it out yourself a bit more, and there's a bit more mystery. So it's making the viewer take more responsibility in working out what the film is, which again I think it does make you more interested. Anyway, so that's my thoughts on the old Space Jam poster and the new one. Let me know what you think. Which one's your favourite and which one does the job best, and what would you, if you could change something in one of them, what would you change? Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.